being here for our first CPD training day of the year. A fantastic day set out for us to focus and concentrate on planning for learning and also focus on how and what outstanding look like across the organisation, both support services as well as the curriculum areas. I'm going to be very short today and tell you a little bit about the fantastic feedback that we've got from FE Commission yesterday. A testament to the hard work that everybody has put in place. They are now not going to come back to a yippee until after we have our Ofsted inspection. That means they have confidence in the leadership of this organisation, and they have confidence that we have put matters in order for us to be able to continue on the trajectory of success that they have now established as a result of your hard work, those results for those learners, and what we achieved over the last academic year. So that is a fantastic news. It might not feel like it, but it's fantastic news. That is the link directly back to the Minister of Education, who put us in administered status, saying we have no confidence in you turning this around. They are now saying we don't even need to come and see you until Ofsted comes and checks you for your quality. So on matters related to finance, on matters related to leadership and management, on matters related to our decision making strategically, they have given us the thumbs up. They have said the only reason we will come back would be if you don't continue at the pace that you are at the moment and if things go back. You know that we have multitude of friends that come in the various guises. That doesn't mean we will have no interactions with the FE Commission. We will have monthly interactions continuing. This means that once 3 months that they would come in to do like Ofsted does, a stock take and a monitoring visit, they will not do those. They will now wait for Ofsted to come in and say, yes, we sign them off for the quality of teaching, learning and assessment, and what they saw as inadequate in their report in November, and as a result, then this college will be free of new friends. I'm not an unsociable person, but I would be very glad to see the back of them. I tell them that in every meeting that we see. So that is fantastic news. That is a great testament to your hard work. That is a great accolade that all the hard work that we are going through. If you're tired, put your hands up. This is to say, what you did, what you are doing is paying off. It's not futile, and together we will get where we need to be. I'm going to ask Phil to come up and talk to you about today, because today is about you. You matter. Don't know how many times I have said we do nothing for Ofsted, we do nothing for FE Commission, but we would welcome their endorsement. And this is an endorsement that we've got. We do everything for our learners. And for our learners, you are the biggest asset this organisation has. And you matter the most. So I hope you use today's opportunity to get on and do what needs to be done to address the shortcomings that we have identified, some self-inflicted. There's no question that we didn't get the timetabling in some areas right. We have now. No question that maths and English has been an absolute shambles to begin with. We are now there. If we aren't, we will not let go until it is right. Failure is only when you give up trying, and we are not giver-uppers, are we? So, Phil, come up and tell people what's happening today.
Okay, thank you, Sabine. So the schedule for today, as you can see, or perhaps you can't see, because I certainly can't read that, is focused on a programme of activities for curriculum teams and a programme of activities for support teams. In terms of curriculum, we've got two real overarching objectives that we've got to crack going into the next half term. And it won't surprise anyone if I say the first one of those is learner attendance. Learner attendance at the moment, overall for the whole college, is sitting just below 80%. Okay? That's below where it was this point last year. It's way below our targets for attendance. We know some of that is a direct result of the timetabling issues and the grouping issues and the transfers and the withdrawals that Sabu has mentioned. And the MIS team are working incredibly hard this week and going into next week to make sure the system is completely updated so that we know that attendance figure that we see is actual real students that are or are not in the classroom. But that means we've all got to take responsibility for the attendance of students in our classes. And we're doing a few things centrally, just so you're aware. We're sending to parents next week a letter informing them of their attendance, their son or daughter's attendance, to every element of that study programme. If that attendance is good, we're saying congratulations, brilliant, keep it up, really good start. If that attendance is poor, we are saying this attendance is not good enough, this is the possible implication in terms of success, possible disciplinary, etc. So we're doing that through to the parents. We're launching, and you may have seen it on the screens already, a Attendance Matters 100% campaign. Again, this will go out with the attendance letters. And this is a campaign that's going to go out to learners, and you'll see there's a number of elements to it. We're going to ask tutors to go through with their tutor groups first week back. There's a couple of key facts on the right in terms of why attendance is important. The most striking one for me is that middle one. 2017, most, and it's something like 86% of EFC students that achieved a C or a 4 or higher in English or maths had over 90% attendance. Yeah, we all know the very, very clear link between attendance and success. Key point that even if they're phoning in and letting us know, that doesn't suddenly mean that attendance level is okay, because we know if they're not in the classroom, they're not learning. And then, in terms of a bit of a carrot, we're doing a prize draw, and all of those learners that achieve 100% attendance in the next half term will be put into a raffle and have the opportunity to win an iPad just in time for Christmas. So, bit of a stick, bit of a carrot, but we need a renewed focus. We can no longer say that's a timetable issue, that person wasn't supposed to be there, that person's withdrawn. We've dealt with that. Now these students are required to be in class. So huge focus on attendance going into next half term. The second thing we really need to focus on is planning for learning. We've made huge progress with planning in the college. We've made some significant changes to the way that we timetable that's had, as we knew, a significant impact on the requirement for planning. But Ofsted, in their Stretch and Challenge visit, the FE Commissioners yesterday, and the first round of observations of teaching and learner walks are showing we are not yet there in terms of consistently good planning for learning in the 3-hour sessions and based on the group of learners that we have in front of us. So the focus for today is about sharing the good practice that we have in terms of teaching and learning, sharing those strategies that are really working in some departments, and putting our heads together and coming up with new strategies that will work for you in your subject with your learners, because that's what good planning for learning is actually about. So if we can have a look at the schedule for today, I'll just go through in very general terms, please. Brilliant. Okay, so we're starting off, and we're very shortly going to be joined by Sia, who's going to give us an inspirational talk to start the day. The first session in terms of curriculum staff is that cross-college team collaboration. We've put teams together that perhaps don't normally work together. We've put teams together that may think, well, my teaching has got absolutely nothing in common with the teaching of that team. You will be amazed and surprised how much we can learn and pick up from the way other teams deliver. So we've got Hair and Beauty working with construction, led by Sean this morning. We've got the arts, childcare, health and social care, led by Kim and Lee. We've got business, IT, sport, travel, public services and A-levels, led by Victoria. And we've got English and maths working with PLW, led by Pam and Edward this morning. Focus of that is planning for the 3-hour classes and planning for your learners. So a quick revisit of group profiles, a quick revisit of the information that's on group profiles. If you've done the profile with your learners in tutorial, huge amounts of information comes through. But more importantly, sharing. How do you make that 3-hour work? What techniques have you got? Because remember, it's 3 hours for teachers as professionals to plan teaching, learning and assessment. And we know if we go in and deliver a lecture for 3 hours, we know what the result is going to be. If we run the same activity for 3 hours, we know what the result is going to be. But there's some great practice going on. Great practice going on, and that's what we need to share. So everyone is confident and has got that toolkit to really make those 3-hour sessions work for your learners to achieve. That's this morning's session. Support staff at that point are going to be working on being outstanding, because the college overall is aiming to be outstanding from a teaching and learning point of view, a curriculum point of view, and from all of the support that's in place to support curriculum doing what they need to do. So a session in the theatre for those team. Lunch, we're not providing centrally a lunch today because people are going to be working in those areas. The canteen will be open. They are doing their Friday fish and chips, and the coffee shop will also be open for coffee and sandwiches. But after this meeting, there will be coffee and biscuits provided. This afternoon, bit of time after lunch for curriculum teams to do just a bit of housekeeping. And what we mean by housekeeping is, number one, that final sign-off of last year's course reviews. They're there, they're pretty much done, but we've only finalised success data, achievement data, this week. Okay, Alistair, I think, has finally pressed the button, I can't see him, and it's gone. Has it gone? Has it gone? It's gone. Yes, so it's gone. So that's our final achievement data. We need to make sure we've got that right in those course reviews, because there's been quite a lot of late achievements, which is great. We need to make sure that's in our course reviews. And also the value-added data that wasn't there when we wrote our course reviews. So we need to update those, and learning leaders will be signing those off. Second thing we need to make sure is right in that session is the assessment plans, because we did those before we put on some additional groups, before we collapsed some groups, before we had 2 groups in a subject and had to change the unit delivery. So we just need to go back and just check that our assessment plan, which units we're delivering and when, and where work experience fits, actually now is correct, up to date and saved on the U drive. And then our extension task there is to really check that our course files are where they need to be. So housekeeping with your learning leads for that session. Support staff at that time are going to be undertaking a session on what's working and what do we need to improve. Because again, support staff and support teams have done a self-assessment report in the same way as curriculum areas have, and they've done a quality improvement plan. That opportunity of that session is to review that plan, to review that self-assessment, and just check it rings true, because there's been a lot of changes since those support staff self-assessment reports have been written. So again, it will be those teams with their managers reviewing the self-assessment, reviewing the quality improvement plan in the context of the session with Sabui being outstanding, and equally in the context of those teams are going to have their validation meetings immediately after half-term, in the same way as curriculum teams have already had the pleasure of having their SARs and QUIPs validated. After this afternoon's break, for curriculum staff, it's back into those same groups, so working cross-college with those same teams, and the focus then is about 2 things really. It's about bringing an activity that you use that works really well to engage learners. It's a sharing session, it's a bring and brag session. So we're asking all teachers to bring that one thing that every year you love that session because the students love it and you love it and so much happens in that class. We want you to bring, we want you to share. And the second part of that session this afternoon is to establish and kick-start our peer observation process. And this will apply to every teacher in the college. They will undertake to pair up with another member of staff and undertake a peer observation by the 29th of November. So the final thing we're going to do in that session this afternoon is decide, allocate and agree who is going to observe who, and some input there about what that peer observation looks like and what it's about. Okay. Support staff coming back into the theatre at 3:30 with Sabui, finishing up that theme of where are we now. So that's the schedule for today. Please enjoy it. Please throw yourself into it. I know people are tired, but hopefully you will see it's very, very focused on what we need to do now and ensure is right when we come back after half term in terms of chasing attendance and in terms of ensuring our planning is absolutely fit for purpose, because we are expecting the Ofsted RMV after half term, because it hasn't happened. Obviously it hasn't happened this week. Okay. Enjoy the day. I'm going to be floating in and out of these activities, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you so much, Phil. A couple of things I want to say. We have had some real difficulties with students' behaviour. I'm sure you agree that there are a different sort of scale of mischief this year. And as a result, we are writing to their parents, as we do every half term, with their attendance, and we are telling them that unless they have their ID, there is no admittance to the college. The reason for that is that some of our little gems will give their cards to the person who is not a member of this community. They pass through and then they go and sign in as I've left my card at home. We have found students in the college who are not students of the college. We cannot have the reputation of the college to be one that they will say, well, the security is pants there, we can go and have fun at Epping Forest College. We have had some horrendous incidents, unacceptable behaviour, and we are not going to let go. So zero tolerance means zero tolerance. A few of these kids need to be permanently excluded from our learning community for the message to get out there, for them to behave. So be sure that you are using the processes, the systems that are in place to make sure that our students will behave themselves and they know that this is an organization that means business. Don't walk by. You know that. And wanted to just give you a story that I shared with Gary earlier today. Many of you have been through the observation. I believe that we have had about 27 graded observations, about 48 learning walks. That's fantastic. We have been only about 5-6 weeks of teaching taking place, and already we have measured where we are at. Remember, and I know it's extremely difficult to remove the grade from the person. I want to share with you a personal experience when I first became a teacher in this country, and I was teaching electronics to a group of lads from Jamaica and Ghana and Nigeria, so big black lads, massive. An example of it is May. May, would you demonstrate? Sort of big lads, and I was in my 20s, sort of just out of Iran, couldn't understand the word they would say, their accent I couldn't understand, and I was teaching electronics, so they were thinking, who's this, little woman teaching electronics, so all of that was going on. I was new to the teaching here, in this country. I was a qualified teacher, I was teaching at the university, I knew my subject, so it wasn't that I didn't know what I was doing, but the circumstances were very difficult. And we had at the time, I don't know if you remember or not, FEFC was coming rather than Ofsted, and the grading was 1 to 7. Do you remember those days, if anybody has been in the sector for that long? And they were coming in, and we had 3 weeks notice. Do you remember those days where we had 3 weeks notice? You killed yourself. So I briefed these kids. I said, I don't care what you do when nobody is in this class. I'm having being observed. This week is what is happening. I want you at your best behavior and all the rest of it. The guy walked in to observe me, and these lads gave me hell. They were saying, I gave them handouts, and they said, oh, miss, we've never seen any of these. What's this? What do you call this? I started writing on the interactive whiteboard, putting a website up. Oh, that thing turns on as well. We didn't know that. And one of them had the audacity to pull his chair back, roll the chair back, did that, and said, miss, come and sit on this. And that was the end of it. Whoa. Seriously, it was... You can imagine how I felt. That session went absolutely to pots. I had no control. They were chucking things at one another. They were, and it got, you know how it is, when they see that you're out of control, it gets worse and worse and worse. Anyway, the guy intervened and walked out of the class. Afterwards, saw me and said, well, that didn't go very well, did it? So I got a 6. It was really, really, really poor. 7 was extremely poor. And he gave me a 6 because he said, let me see your portfolio, how, your planning folder and so on. And he saw that there were always being plans, handouts, all the rest of it, and so on. It took me off my feet because in the college process, I was graded as outstanding. They were showcasing me as their sort of equality and diversity. The female who is from Iran teaching electronics, yay, this is going to be fantastic, you're going to take all the boxes. And I got a 6 out of 7, and I was absolutely horrified. I had to remove the feeling of, if I'm getting a 6, I have always been outstanding, what about these others who don't do anything? And I had no disrespect to engineering colleagues. They were a group of lads who have always been doing what they were doing, and nobody was going to go to them and say, you need to do things a little bit more modern and differently. And they were getting away by getting just about okay. So it hurt, absolutely hurt. What I'm saying, remove the grade with your ability. Do you do a good job for your learners? And if you do, continue doing it. Learn from that session. What I learned from that session was, next time, I don't care who walks in that class. I control that class. Because if that guy wasn't sat there, I would have chucked a few of those out. I would have used the language that they would understand to settle down, and I would have called the security. That could have sorted it, wouldn't it? But I was too afraid that he might think I don't have the capabilities to control that session as a teacher. I didn't ask for help. That's the lesson that I learned. If it's not right, you are not doing it for the person who's coming to see you, you're doing it for your learners. And in an organization that is inadequate just about getting to requiring improvement, don't compare yourself with the one next door. And I'm not saying you're all requiring improvement, you're all inadequate. But what I'm saying, outstanding is there. Our organization is here. So the best practice needs to, the whole organization needs to come up. And as such, I want you to take this to heart. It's difficult when you get a grade that is not what you know you're capable of delivering. It's the session, not you. Continue doing the best that you do for your learners. Don't let it get you down. Because failure is when you stop trying. And as I said in the previous spiel, we are not giver-uppers, are we? So hopefully you will learn from that. From that experience, I then resigned from that post, went and did a few other jobs. A few years later, they called me back and said, that inspection gave them real big troubles and so on. And next time they were inspected, they were graded as a 4, as a 7. So we needed to go back and do something. So I was called back to go and sort that department out. Now, not as a teacher, as a manager. And within 18 months, we turned that around from a 7 to a 2. And that became an exemplar. Go and read about it, Merton College it was. And we did a fantastic amount of work there with people. So things that happens to you should be an injection of energy for you to do better things with it. We are all extremely dedicated and hardworking, otherwise you won't be here. That's teaching for you. So do the right thing for your learners and have a good rest after the half term. May I introduce our guest speaker? Sia is going to set the day for us, and I hope that you enjoy his talk. And over to you, Sia.
Would you like me to stand here or would you like me to stand over here? If I stand here, you can't see my knees going plop. You want. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you all doing?
Fabulous.
How are you all doing? Awesomely good. Brilliant. My name is Siyabulela. Could you repeat that slowly? Siyabulela. people. You are awesomely good. My name means we give thanks, we give praise. I was born and raised in South Africa, and I've lived in this beautiful country for the last 30 years. Don't mind my tan is fading because of the cold. You know what they say about, you know that song, my name is, I'm not going to do a rap, I promise you I won't. I know that they say Britain has got talent, but Sia doesn't have that talent. You know what they say about African time? They say that Europeans have got watches, and Europeans have got watches, and Africans have got time. I've been given 20 minutes to deliver a motivational talk, which I normally take about the whole day to deliver. I'm joking. No, you'll be pleased, I don't do that. So I will endeavor to respect the constraints of time today, and I'll try and stick to my 20 minutes that I have been given. It's good that I'm with you today. I am familiar with this college. I feel like the last 2 weeks, this has been my hotel, my room, my M25 and the college. I've been doing the NCS program for the last 2 weeks, and we finished 3 days ago. And I was asked to come and be part of this inspirational, motivational community. Put your hands together for yourselves. My mission in life is to educate, is to empower, is to enthuse people. That is my mission. My mission in life is about positive outcomes for children and young people. My mission in life is I have a dream. I have a dream. I'm not Martin Luther King, of course I'm not. But I have a dream that young people will thrive and flourish. I have a dream that everybody that I come into contact with will know that they have been added value to, that they've been inspired to be the best they can be. I have a dream that we all together can bring the best out of each other and the best out of our learners. Is that your dream as well? That's pathetic, yes. Is that your dream as well? Yes. I like that. I like energy. Let me put my talk in context. Can you next slide, please? You may be wondering why I'm called Mr. T. I'm not Mr. T. You know Mr. T in the 80s? No, I'm not related to Mr. T. My surname is Twani. Yeah? And I'm not either related to Shania Twain or Mark Twain for that matter. I'm not. Okay? Mr. T, it just resembles that I am Mr. Twani. So I do a lot of motivational speaking, inspirational speaking. I'm a life coach. I'm a mentor. I'm an educator. I'm a passionate educator, if I may add. I love learning. Learning inspires me. Learning just brings the best out of me. It takes me to the next level. And I'm so excited to be in a company of people who just want to be the best and bring out the best out of the young people that we have. Next slide, please. I'm going to put what do you think of that? Every day has the potential to be the greatest day in your life.
Yay!
I've come to the right place. Every day has got a potential to be the best day in your life. Do you believe that, ladies and gentlemen? Yes. Are you all celebrating? Thank God it's half term. Yes. Yeah, I can see. Look at you excited. Well, hopefully half term will bring the best out of you, and you'll come back energized and pour out all your love, all your energy, and all your inspiration in the lives of these our young people. I want to put in context my talk, and I don't mean to be political at all, but I'm a South African, and my motivation for education, for enthusing people, for empowering people, comes from the context in which I was born. Next slide, please. I was born in South Africa. And there was a system of suppression. There was an education system that suppressed and exploited black people. It was a second-class type of education. And it was geared towards racial superiority and racial suppression. Next one, please. There was a man who was the founder of apartheid, and he said the following: there is no place for an African child under the African sun. A black child has got no hope, he said. He was wrong. I am the hope. He was wrong. He said there was no hope for a black child. What is the point of educating a black child? Teach them menial labor, like gardening, like washing white people's cars. And I said, I will not do that. I will not accept that. Next slide, please. Hadfood said the following as well. He said that we are just doomed for failure. You know, have you ever worked with people who set you up for failure? Have you ever worked with those kind of people? They are toxic, aren't they? Oh, they are toxic, aren't they? Yes. This man was extremely toxic. He was pulling the country one way. He was destroying the ethos of that beautiful country. How many of you have been to South Africa? Yeah, wow. Thank you, sir. It's the most beautiful part of the world, isn't it? Oh, right. I'll give you context. But he was so toxic, he was pulling South Africa in a different direction. And there was another man who was pulling the country, not apart like where Food was doing, he was pulling the country together. Another slide, please. It was this man that I had the privilege of meeting in person. I was in prison. I was in prison. I'll tell you about my prison experience just now. But this man, for me, Mr. Nelson Mandela, said the following: education is the most powerful weapon with which we can change the world. And this man was a galvanizer of our nation. Today we're here because we are all in this together. Is that right? Yep. Yes. We're not going to pull that way or this way. We're all in this together, aren't we? Yes. Sound like a High School Musical. I'm not going to dance, don't worry. Yeah? We're all in this together. The word for community in Zulu is umphakathi. Could you repeat after me? Umphakathi. It means community. It means we are all in this together. There's nobody excluded. And I like the ethos of this college. That for me, it seemed like you are a united force. Is that right? Yes. Yes. Yeah. It feels like I've come to the place where people want to be together. People want to work together. You've got a common goal, common purpose. And this man, for me, Nelson Mandela, brought that country together. What does that have to do with education? Bantu education was set out to make us feel inferior. But this man was a product of that, but he refused to be a second-class citizen in his own country. So did I. You know what education meant for me? It meant that I had the voice. It meant that I had power. It meant that my humanity was restored. It meant freedom and access to the big world. Education is the biggest weapon with which we can change the world. I'm tongue-tied. But, so it's the most powerful weapon. Do you believe in education? Yes. Why do you believe in education? For that very reason, it's got the power to change the world? Yes. Sorry? So, it's the key to life. It's the key to life. So what did education mean to me? It meant power, it meant freedom. Why was I so passionate about education? I was passionate because it was going to elevate me from poverty. It was my ticket to freedom. It was going to alleviate some of the stress and the poverty that my parents went under. My father was an uneducated man. He said the following: son, I'm not educated, but I want you to take your life to the next level. So he raised my aspirations. He raised my educational aspirations. Is that what we're about this morning? Raising educational aspirations. Is that it? Yes. Well, I've come to the right place. My father says, son, in every situation, walk tall. What was Obama's slogan before he became the first African-American president? What did he say? Yes, you can. It was based on Bob the Builder. Yeah? And he says what? Yes, we can. He said what? Yes, we can. Can we do this together? Yes.
Yes.
No, that's pathetic. Can we do this together? Yes, we can. I like a little bit of passion and emphasis that yes, we can. We Africans, we say that we feel music in our bones. Yeah, we've got to feel it. Forget my African bottom. Yeah, we feel it in our bone. We feel it in our soul. Thank you, madam. Next slide, please. I was set out to change the world. Yeah, like Nelson said that education is the most powerful weapon. I was set out to change the world. But I also realized, I'll tell you about my imprisonment, and I ended up in prison. When I was age 17, I was a student leader, and I refused to accept that in my own country I was defaced. In my own country I was a non-entity, I was a non-person. So I went on the street and I marched on the streets of South Africa and said, we demanded education for all, not just for white privileged people. Education was not just for a certain class, it was for all of us. And for my involvement in political struggle, I ended up being in prison for 4 years, and I was tortured by the regime. But that did not deter me. I was determined that they said no to me, and I said yes to me. And I was determined not to be a victim of apartheid, yeah, but to be a victor of apartheid. I stand before you this morning not as a victim. I don't feel sorry for what happened to me. Actually, it empowered me to be able to stand in front of you and say, I am not a victim, I am a victor. That little girl, I was doing a workshop, and she came to me, she says, excuse me, why do you have those dots on your face? You know, children ask a lot of questions. How many of you have got children? Do you remember when you are driving in the back of the car and they ask the questions, why? Or the other one is, are we there yet? Is that right? Are we there yet? Yes, we are! No, yeah? But she was asking some why questions, yeah? I told her about the what education meant to me, the why, and I told you because I wanted to elevate my life from poverty. But that child was asking the same question. Why? Why do you have that on your face? And I explained to her, and she kept on asking the question, why? And I said, because I want to beautify myself. And she says, why? And I kept on asking the question, do the learners in this college have an opportunity to ask questions? Do they?
Yes.
Do the learners in this college have the ability to be critical, independent thinkers?
Yes.
I love this college. Can I register? Can I please? Thank you. Do they have the ability to know that they can be creative in their personality, in their presentation, in their learning? Are they accessing learning at all levels? Good question. That little girl asked questions, and she asked clarity questions. Why? She wanted to know. And I think as educators, we are here to empower, to crystallize, to make things fun, creative, enjoyable, to make learning accessible. Is that right? To all people, irrespective of their gender, race, color, creed, ability, or no ability. Would you agree with that, ladies and gentlemen?
Yes.
Yes, it is. That child asked the question, why? Have you ever traveled on a plane to South Africa or to any other part of the world? When you get to the other side of the borders, the passport controller asks you a question. Why are you here? Is that right? Do they ask that? And they ask, why are you here? Why are we here this morning, ladies and gentlemen? Why are we here? Because of our learners. Why are we here? And then they ask the question, where are you going? Is that right? And can you put the next slide, please? They say that an unexamined life is not worth living. Would you agree with Plato? Yes. So we're going to do the assessments, we're going to do the attendance, we're going to inspire parents, we're going to give young people the opportunity to win that iPad that was so mentioned. We're going to raise the educational aspiration. We're going to raise the bar. Is that right? Yes. Yes, we are. An unexamined life is not worth living. We're going to do some activities throughout the day that are going to inspire you, that are going to give you wings to fly. Not Red Bull gives you wings. It's not. It doesn't give you wings, Red Bull. It doesn't. Where are you going? Where have you come from? This afternoon you're going to talk about where you're going. Is that right? You're going to talk about where you want to be. Yeah? Next slide, please. You're going to talk about why we're here. Next slide, please. I was inspired by your vision. But by 2020, you are going to raise your game. And I've heard that already this morning, that you are so excited about endless possibilities and opportunities that are before you as a college. Are you excited about this vision?
Yes.
It says that without a vision, people perish. But without a vision, people go to other parishes. Without a vision. And I'm so excited to be part of you today to bring about this message of we are world changers. We are history makers. We are destiny shapers. We are in this business. We are in this business of changing lives. Do you realize that you are raising the next president, the next prime minister, the next scientist, the next philosopher? Do you realize that? No, Sia, you don't know my learners. You don't know my students. I don't. But that's why you're in the business, to know them and to bring the best out of them. You're raising the next champion, not boxing. You're raising champions. Would you say that, ladies and gentlemen?
Yes.
Yes, you are. Could you please stand? Could you say, it's good to be me? Yes. No, it's good to be me. I want everybody to do it. It's good to be me. It's good to be me. It's good to be you. I am a force for good. A little bit of temperature in the room. I am a force for good. I am raising champions. I'm a destiny shaper. I am a destiny shaper. Are you? Yes. I like that. Are you a destiny shaper? Yes. Are you a destiny shaper? Yes. Please sit down. I'll finish with this one. Age of 17, I was arrested and I was put in prison and I was tortured. I told you I'm not a victim, but I did that for 3 reasons, and I'm going to finish with that. I did take up the armed struggle. I used to carry an AK-47. I was trained in other parts of the world. And I was labeled a terrorist because I was furthering the aims of the banned organization. You know, in life, there are 3 types of people. Those who watch things happen. Yeah? Have you ever come across people who are they watch things happen? Yeah? And there's the second type of person is the what happened, you know, the duh. Yeah? And the third type of person are the people like yourself, those who make things happen. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a plumb, pleasing pleasure to be in the company of motivational, inspirational people like yourselves. I thank you.